Good morning. My name is Ogaga Ekama, and on behalf of the board, management, and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, I'm super elated to know and welcome you to another informative, education, and entertaining morning ride edition here on Delta Television. Today happens to be the 23rd day in the month of March 2026, and is the penultimate Monday in the month of March. I'm not riding alone this morning. I've got with me Chizzy Awuna. Good morning, Chizzy. How are you
Good
doing?
morning, my fellow rider. How do you do?
I'm good. I'm good. How was your weekend?
Amazing. I rested properly. You know, we had 2 holidays now. The Eid al-Fitr Mubarak on Thursday and on Friday. Even though our kind of job we don't have exactly enough time to rest.
So when you're talking about public holiday, well, it was not
We
like a
can't
public holiday
relate,
for me.
yes,
Yeah,
but I think rest is intentional. Just try to rest when you can. Good morning and welcome to Monday's edition of Morning Ride. It's an absolute delight to have you here with us. I'm Chizzy Awuna.
Yes, this morning we'll be engaging you with our lineup of programs. We have the trending news. We'll also bring you the different headlines across the dailies. And we have two exciting and informative interviews for you. So you do not want to miss out. So stay through and stick around with us. Now let's kickstart with our trending stories from the weekend. Now, the Delta State government has strongly condemned the reports of harassment and sexual assault involving women during the Ozora festival, describing it as barbaric and completely unacceptable. In a statement on Friday, the Commissioner for Works, Railroads and Public Information, Charles Aniagu, called on security agencies to carry out a thorough investigation and ensure that all perpetrators are brought to justice. He stressed that no cultural celebration should be used as a cover for criminal behavior. Meanwhile, some suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident. Yes, the Delta State Police Command says investigations are ongoing and has assured the public that everyone involved will be identified and prosecuted. The police also urged victims and witnesses to come forward with credible information to aid the investigation. In related development, the traditional ruler of Ozora convened an emergency meeting following the disturbing incident. The monarch condemned the acts and distanced the palace from what he described as a heinous crime. He also expressed support for the ongoing police investigation, emphasizing the need to ensure that those responsible for the shameful acts are held accountable. And during the weekend, the police public relations officer of Delta State Command, that is Bright Edafi, he put out a statement because apparently they paid a visit. Yes, the Commissioner of Police Delta State, CP Aino Adeshola, they paid a visit to the traditional ruler of Ozora, and it's actually good news because a couple of persons, at least no fewer than 15 persons, have been arrested and investigations are ongoing, and they've called for victims, witnesses of the assault to come forward so that more of the perpetrators can be brought to book. Chizzy, your take on it?
Okay, this story is really a very sad story, and of recent we've been hearing of young people involved in terrible and heinous crimes, and I'm wondering, how did we really get here? How did things get this bad? I was privileged to ask somebody who schooled at the Ozora Polytechnic a few years back. I said, what kind of festival is this? Now that's a very shameful and embarrassing video there that puts Delta State's kind of in a bad light, but most importantly, it puts these youths in a very terrible light, thereby even shaming their parents in all of this. Because why should it lead to this? I know that when this first happened, I saw it on your status, I think, and I was wondering, I said, how? So yes, I spoke with the person who schooled in that Ozoro Polytechnic a few years back, and she said, oh, she never heard about this type of festival. So what was the plan behind the festival? And these persons who went about raping people's daughters, people's sisters, people's children, is it that they don't have sisters? Okay, if they don't have sisters, you should have a mother. Some things shouldn't even be heard of. In 2026, you are doing a festival where if you see any girl outside, the girl will be raped. So yes, it is such a shame and an embarrassment that in 2025 we should even
26.
be talking 2026. Sorry, we should even be talking about rape as a case. Talk more of a rape festival. It's really unheard of, and I'm happy that the Delta State police, they are doing their best to bring every perpetrator of this crime to book. And I'm really hoping that this will serve as a deterrent to others who are somehow dreaming or thinking about it. I think every well brought up child or well brought up male should know that no is no. I'm not just talking about the festival right now. If a lady says no, don't guess that she means yes. No is absolutely no. Yeah.
Okay, I think that for context, because different leaders of the Ozoro community, they have spoken up, and in all honesty, although bloggers and social media, they pushed it out as a rape or raping festival, but in the actual sense, it is not a rape or raping festival. So let's put it out there. The Ozoro community of Isoko North local government area of Delta State, they have nothing like a rape or raping festival. It's actually the Aluedo Festival, that's the name, and it's a form of fertility festival. So it was just some, what will I call them now? Some rowdy youths, even shockingly,
Yeah.
there were some adolescents that I saw a video of adolescents also in all of that. So it's just some.
There was nobody who said stop.
Eh?
There was nobody
No, no,
who
no,
preached.
No. In all honesty, there were some persons that were trying to save some ladies at a certain point and all of that. So, like as I was stating, it's just some randy adolescents and youths that exploited and hijacked the process. So there's actually nothing like a rape festival. So it's the fertility festival, actually entitled Aluedo, that people exploited and hijacked and used in harassing a couple of ladies. So it's very, very sad, and I'm glad that the police, they've stepped into it, and like the IGP, Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, has actually instructed that the case be looked into, and that's why the Commissioner of Police, Delta State Command, alongside other senior officers in the police force, they paid a visit to the traditional ruler of Ozoro, and like I stated earlier, no fewer than 15 persons have been arrested related to the case and all of that. So it's a good one. We need to put an end to this. We cannot be having and experiencing this in 2026. So it's totally like the Delta State government. We totally condemn that, and we hope that it does not repeat itself, not only in Ozora but anywhere across the state, across Nigeria. We do not need to have these kind of situations, and my heart really goes out to all the ladies that were victims, because I'm wondering how they felt, and even ladies that were not even victims that are within that community. I'm wondering, because there was a report that actually stated that the festival was meant to run for 7 days and all of that, because even persons that were not victims, they might be feeling scared to
traumatized
walk. And some persons, and it's so sad that in Nigeria we don't really have therapy and all of that, because I've heard a couple of ladies speak, and it's very disheartening the way ladies now perceive men. They are looking at the male gender like, who are you guys really?
Yes, who raised you?
Yeah, who are you guys? So some ladies actually feel unsafe around men right now. So that's why it's sad that in our society we don't really have much of therapy sessions and all of that, but somehow you should find people to speak to if you find yourself in that situation, because it's unfair to give a blanket judgment on men or the male gender based on just a dot, because the men, it was not all the men that were involved of Ozora that were even involved, just a dot of the main gender. So
stained the rest.
So I will not really say stain the rest, because they stained themselves, because there are still good men out there. So that's it. It's so sad. So more victims should be brought to book, more perpetrators of the crime should be brought.
I'm just really happy that you pointed that out from a male perspective. So I guess we'll leave it there. All right. So yes, on a brighter note, something amazing happened in Delta State a few days ago, where the Delta State government honored autism teen cyclists on awareness ride. Now, the Delta State government on Sunday welcomed 16-year-old autistic cyclist Kanyenya Chukwu Tabo Okeke during a brief stop in Asaba on his endurance journey. Now, the teen who from Enugu arrived with his parents, members of the Kanyenya Chukwu Autism Foundation, cycling officials, and a medical support team. Now, the visit formed part of his long-distance ride from Enugu through Anambra, with Lagos as a final destination. At the government house, the cyclist and his entourage were received by Delta's First Lady, Mrs. Tobore Oberwori. Dickiness Oberwori described the visit as both inspiring and symbolic, praising Master Kanyenya Chukwu's courage and determination. She noted his endurance Ride with Kanye, aims to raise awareness about autism. Now, his achievements, including recognition in the Guinness World Record, highlight his talent in the art and passion for cycling, she said. The First Lady restated that the visit aligned with her Umata Charity Foundation, which promotes inclusive and recognizes every individual's value. This event celebrates excellence, resilience, and the strength of human spirit, not barely a young person with special needs, she added. Now, he added the Teenager Cycling Challenge could make him one of the youngest to compete an Enugu to Lagos journey. Now, it's also worthy to note that Kanyenya Chukwu at 15 also set a Guinness World Record with over 12,000 feet painting. So yes, his name is on the World Guinness Book of Record with over 12,000 feet painting. Ogaga, when the first time I heard about this boy being an autistic child, I won't say patient because he's doing great things, and he got into the Guinness Book of Record, I had to check out who his parents were.
Okay.
Yes, and I just have to say that I am proud of his parents, you know, because having a child who is autistic, first of all, can be very challenging. And I just want to say that his parents, from what I can just see this boy doing, his parents are very intentional. They obviously didn't cast this boy away, because some parents, I don't know if it's still trending, but back in the days, I know that when parents have autistic children, they like to hide them in the house. They rarely bring them out, most times because of stigma. But I'm happy that we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and we are getting to learn and know that every child matters. It doesn't matter if that child is autistic. It doesn't matter if that child is living with special needs. It's funny because children living with special needs are doing the most. Adults living with special needs are doing the most. Take, for example, in our office here, Delta Broadcasting, you know, our staff who are living with special needs are doing amazingly well. Yeah, so I think that this is a call for parents to search inwards, you know, try as much as possible to help your child, assist your child to harness their talent. So it is big kudos to Kanye Nyachuku's parents, and of course Kanye Nyachuku as well. Obviously the sky is his starting point. I just want to say kudos to the Delta State government for recognizing this child. I know that You Matter Charity Foundation, that's the foundation of the wife of our governor, Dickiness Tobore Borowori. This is part of what she does, but I just want to say that it's a big you know, thumbs up to the Delta State government for honoring this boy. By the way, the boy is not a Deltan; he's from Anambra. But Anambra. Yes, it's worth celebrating. Yes.
Yes. So it's a good one, and I think that when parents, ill-informed parents, start seeing things like this, ill-informed parents that have autistic children or children with special needs,
yeah,
then they get encouraged, like you stated,
yes,
and now stop that. Should I call it that's archaic habit that I don't know where they picked up from, of hiding the children in the house and not letting them out? Because truth is, there are even schools, more schools of special needs are not coming up around us. In those days, you would say that they were not very, very common, but right about now, we can see more school of special needs around. There are a couple of them in Asaba and all of that. So when you see all of this and you see your child, now that name, I love the fact, special needs.
Yes.
So it means that those children, they need special need from the average child that does not have any challenge, physical challenge or whatsoever, mental challenge or whatsoever you want to call it. So, but in this situation, they need special needs. So parents have to be intentional about their children. Generally, parents have to be intentional about their children, but parents need to be more intentional about these people and all of that. And if possible, more parents should be enlightened and educated about how to take care of these children, because truth is, some of these parents, they don't even know how to go about it.
Yes.
So I think that health practitioners, medical personnel, they should do more with enlightenment. NGOs, they should do more enlightening parents to let them know that you have an autistic child or any child that has special needs does not mean that the child will amount to nothing.
Yeah.
There are people will tag that they are okay, no physical challenge and all of that, but they don't have their names on the Guinness World Record.
Right.
But Kanye Nyachuku does that at the age of 15.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what he has done again, achieved another feat, cycling from Enugu to Delta State. So these are
final destination being Lagos.
so these are things to encourage you if you're a parent and you have one or two, or irrespective of the number, you have children with special needs. It is not the end of the world for them. As a matter of fact, that child can even announce you to the world over that other child that you feel like it's better in your head and all of that. Now, Delta State doing remarkable things, Nigeria doing remarkable things. Also, Nigeria, still on good news, has recorded an impressive performance at the recently concluded African Spelling Bee competition held in Harare, Zimbabwe. The competition, which brought together top young spellers from over 30 African countries, featured a series of intellectually demanding rounds, including a high-pressure speed segment where participants were required to correctly spell 20 words within just 1 minute, alongside multiple elimination stages. 5 outstanding Nigerian students selected through a rigorous national screening process organized by the Nigerian Spelling Bee represented the country at the continental event. Leading the pack was Oluwadamilola Adeolu, a student of St. Lawrence Metropolitan College, Ado-Ekiti, and clinched first position to emerge champion in the junior category. Also delivering a remarkable performance was Abdurrahman Yusuf of Al-Rahim International College, Ilorin, who secured 3rd place in the same category, while South African's Ashton Sine finished in 2nd position. In the overall rankings, Nigeria further demonstrated academic excellence, emerging as the 2nd best country of the competition. Other members of the Nigerian team include Ogenetano Idogo of Mountaintop Schools, Lagos, Chinedu Okediachi of Madonna International Schools here in Asaba, and Miriam Yusuf of Al-Rahim International School, Ilorin. This achievement once again highlights the growing strength and competitiveness of Nigerian students on the continental stage. Now, this is absolutely good news. Spelling Bee on the continental stage coming out overall 2nd position. And I'm not surprised by this, because even when you go to other parts of the world, when you hear citizens of other countries speak about the intellectual might and capacity of Nigerians,
yes,
they commend them very well. They tell you, if you travel out, visit different countries, you have Nigerians in different sectors, and they are not at the base level, at hierarchy.
Yes.
Being outstanding and all of that.
Yes.
And that's why I will also use this as an opportunity to call on states and the federal government that they should do better. They should make the environment more conducive for Nigerians, so that we will not experience brain drain. We will not have the best hands leaving the countries
away, yes.
to go and improve the economy of another nation. I think it was on your status I saw during the weekend of how doctors are living. Someone put up a post that instead of him doing his residency in Nigeria,
he would rather sell in Onitsha.
Yes, he would rather go and join his brother and sell in Onitsha. So that's painful. And the narrative went on to say that people are saying this and that instead of the state the government to address the issues, they are looking for ways to hold them back. And now what happens is that when you frustrate them to the point that you think that, okay, instead of you addressing the root issue, you are trying to stop them from traveling out. Then if they now end up like that guy that says, okay, if you don't want me to travel out, then I will not even use my degree.
Yes.
I'll go and look for another occupation.
Right.
Then the ones that are even in the hospitals, they are disgruntled, they are not happy. That's why you see nurses and you complain about how nurses have poor customer service, patient service and all of that, they are bitter and all of that. It's not an excuse, but a couple of them, they are not happy with the package they get.
Right.
They are not happy with what they are doing. They feel that they are not properly taken care of. So this is a call that let us invest more in the educational sector, and beyond that, let's also work on employment, because somebody that graduates from school, finishes with flying colors, and gets into the labor market, and there is no employment for that person, it becomes terrible.
Yeah.
Frustration sets in.
Yes.
Then even the persons that are not even wanting to be employed, that wants to be employers of labor, that want to start their own businesses, the environment is still not conducive. When last did you have power supply? Because you see, power is one of the things that encourages all these entrepreneurs.
Yes.
They are running a business. You have a barbing salon, you have a beauty salon, or you have a business center.
Yeah.
And all of these are occupations, these are businesses that need power supply.
Yeah.
And all of that, and it's poor. Then you now expect the person to go and what's the word now, to acquire fuel. The price of fuel has gone up. It was happening in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Or you want them to install solar panel. Just like someone funny bride price list during the weekend, and one of the requirements was solar panel. I said,
oh my God.
Oh wow. So but on a more serious note, the government needs to do better. The government needs to encourage the citizens. The government needs to support its citizens so that they can be motivated to give more to the country.
All right, so yes, I just want to say big and massive kudos to these bright minds who have made our country proud, especially our very own Okediashi of Chinedu of Madonna International School here in Asaba, Delta State. So Gaga, I just wanted to also note that I see the effort that teachers put in this generation. I saw a video a few days ago of a woman saying that she was trying to teach her daughter, and when she says A, the child is not responding. When she says B, the child is not responding. And so she panicked. You know, why can't the child read ABCD? And when she got to the child's school, you know, she just peeped from the window and realized that the teacher teaches them in vowels. And the truth is, when you are being taught in vowels, you can spell anything because you are sounding it and you're spelling it out. But in our time, all we knew was A, B to Z. And sometimes the particular word that you think might be, for example, choir, that you think should have a Q, actually has a C. So I just want to say that I actually see the intentionality that teachers for this generation put in teaching the children. And of course too, when you see a child, you know, doing so well, you should also know that the parents are also doing something different behind the scene. So I just want to say, and of course I'm also happy that these days I'm seeing that education is being upholded. So awards are being given to students who are doing well, students who, you know, are excelling, you know, unlike back in the days where a child or somebody does well and after 4 years in university, you are giving the child 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira award for effort. But if the child goes for Big Brother, they are giving the child, you know, millions of naira or, you know, reality TV shows. So I'm just really happy that education is being upholded in our country today. But at the same time, it also is a good call on the government to do more in terms of creating job opportunities, because it's very sad that many people who are driving keke today are educated people. Some even graduated with a first class. You know, many persons these days are not even using their certificates. There was a challenge some years ago where he said, what did you study? What are you doing at the moment? And you had people saying, oh, I studied this, but I'm a hairdresser. I studied this 2-1, but I'm a, you know, there's dignity in labor, yes. It's okay to have a side hustle, but I can assure you that there's nobody who goes through the 4 walls of school, maybe only just few persons that have the intention that when they come out, they will be bakers or they will be hairdressers. Everyone who has gone through the 4 walls of university had high hopes in the Nigerian government, and had high hopes that when they come out, they'll be able to put their wealth of experience or knowledge into their job. But it's not like that today. So yes, it's calling on the government to please do more so that our children will not be frustrated at the end of the day. And as Ogaga noted, there's brain drain in the countries, you know, in the country. Speaking of doctors, nurses, you know, hybrid professions, and I think this is something that the government needs to check on. If not, we might just get to a point where we might have to be importing doctors and nurses and other professionals into the country. Let's not allow that to happen. All right, so moving on to our next story. This is quite a widening story, as Nigeria is currently grasping with a fresh surge in fuel prices, with the cost of premium motor spirits, PMS, now averaging around 1,250 naira to 1,300 naira per litre across several parts of the country. Now, this follows a recent price adjustment by the Dangote refinery, which has increased its ex-depot petrol price, triggering a ripple effect across the downstream petroleum markets. Now, the latest hike comes amid rising crude oil prices, driven by escalating tension involving the United States, Iran, and Israel, raising fear to supply disruption, particularly along critical routes such as the Strait of Hormuz. Now, despite being one of Africa's largest oil producers and home to the continent's biggest refinery, Nigeria has emerged one of the largest hit countries in the ongoing global fuel price rally. Now, energy analysts attribute the persistent increase to Nigeria's deregulated fuel market, where domestic prices are now largely influenced by international crude benchmark and exchange rate fluctuations. Now, the rising cost of petrol is already impacting transportation fare, food prices, and overall living expenses, placing additional strain on households and small businesses nationwide. However, stakeholders express optimism that increased local refining capacity could help stabilize supply and ease price volatility in long term. Now, Gaga, this is a very sad story, but we also have to note that when it comes to prices of fuel in Nigeria or in Delta states, different people are selling at different prices. Yes, yesterday, I bought fuel for 1,400 naira, and I heard that in some places it's even more expensive.
Yes, of course. So when I saw averaging 1,200 to 1,300, definitely the few stations here in Asaba won't sell at that rate because depending on your location, so maybe it's those closer to the refinery, maybe those around Lagos, will be lucky enough to get to that price. And it also depends on if the petrol station, maybe the management, they are greedy, don't mind extorting Nigerians, they'll make it higher as well. So it's a very, very sad one, and things could get worse because the US, Donald Trump has threatened to strike down Iran's energy facility and all of that. And guess what Iran said in their response? They said that if Donald Trump goes ahead to initiate the strikes, the threatened strikes, that they themselves will completely close the Strait of Hormuz. And once that is done, now this is a partial closure and making the transportation of crude oil much more difficult and challenging. So it's not like it has been completely closed. And the Strait of Hormuz is where 1/5 of the world oil goes through and all of that. So it's because of that challenge in going through the strait that the price of PMS has gone up. So now imagine if Iran goes ahead to completely shut the Strait of Hormuz, and then it becomes a challenge. We might not be getting fuel at maybe 2,000 naira thereabout, between 1,500 to 2,000 naira, which it's not some. Then another thing that needs to be looked into is this deregulation of the market. Talking about the crude oil market and petroleum market here in Nigeria. Why I say that is, initially, when Dangote Refinery came on board, Nigerians were happy that, okay, we have crude and all of that. So our challenge was before, how can we have crude, export the crude to be refined, and then bring it out as finished product, as petrol and all of that. That's what people, analysts were saying initially was affecting the price of fuel in the country. So when Dangote Refinery came on board, people were more optimistic. So we will not need to export our crude because and for it to be refined, the refining will be done in Nigeria. So that should make the price fair for Nigerians, especially considering that when the current administration came on board, the president took off subsidy. Now, with that being said, all of a sudden, we started realizing that it dawned on us when we started seeing the price that Dangote is a businessman. He's not your government.
Yes.
He set up his refinery to make profits.
Yeah.
So, and he has said that the global market prices affects their own price here.
Yeah.
So, and this is where the deregulation that some analysts have spoken about comes in, deregulation of the fuel market. And this is where we should also hold our government, because there was a time that they were speaking about rehabilitating our refineries, be it the one in Port Harcourt, the one in Warri and all of that. So if we had our refineries like the state-owned refineries running, we will not solely depend on Dangote.
Yes.
So it will not be a monopoly of the fuel market and all of that.
Yes.
There would have been competition. So that way it would have been fair. So it's something that, that's why critics said that the president didn't think it through before he made that statement, subsidy is gone.
Yeah.
So, and till now, initially when he made the statement, he was like, Nigerians should tighten their belt. It's just for a while. You feel the labor pants. After that comes comfort. But the administration will be ending next year. I don't think that we've seen the comfort and all of that. So it's very, very challenging and all of that. But we hope that, let me just put that side by side with some of the realities, because I talked about the Middle East crisis, then I come back to you. So because of what is happening in the Middle East, the World Health Organization has raised the alarm over potential health risks following reported missile strikes near nuclear facilities in Iran and Israel. The warning was issued by the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus in a statement shared yesterday. He called on all parties involved in the conflict to exercise maximum restraint, stressing that any attack in the vicinity of nuclear infrastructure poses serious threats to public health, safety, and the environment. According to the WHO, such incidents could lead to dangerous exposure to radiation, disrupt essential health facilities, and worsen humanitarian conditions in already tense regions. The organization further emphasized the urgent need for de-escalation to prevent a potential health crisis with far-reaching global implications. Now, we're talking about what's happening, lives are being lost, economies of nations being affected. Now it's affecting price of crude and invariably fuel and all of that, and transportation. And once cost of transportation goes up, it affects every other thing. Now we're also looking at a health crisis that might be imminent. So I think that they should look for a way to come to the negotiation table, exercise restraint and all of that, because we don't want a health crisis in addition to all that is already going on already. Actually.
Okay, so moving on, this story of the bullied child in Benin. Now more investigations have been done, and I'm just seeing the findings, and Ogaga, it's a lot. It will interest you to know that there was more to that video that we saw put out there. Okay, now the Edo State Commissioner of Police, Monday, Abonika, has disclosed that the dismissed students of the Benedion Education Center linked to the alleged viral bullying incident will be prosecuted. Now, Abonika, who disclosed this in Benin while giving an update on the investigation, stated that the students would face prosecution at the family courts. Now, he said the arrest followed a thorough and painstaking investigation, adding that all individuals directly connected to the incident have been identified and apprehended. He also noted that the suspects are being charged in accordance with extant laws giving juvenile justice and child protection. Now, according to the commissioner, the incident began on March 5, 2026, when two 14-year-old female students had a disagreement with a fellow student. During the altercation, female student, yes. Okay. Now, during the altercation, the student reportedly uttered offensive words directed at the girl's late father, especially saying, "Ogunki, your papa." Now, the girls subsequently attacked the student after school hours.
But this other student, was he a girl too? The student that used that abusive
Yes, it
language
was a girl, yes. In the course of the assault, a parent who had come to pick up her son intervened. However, the two girls allegedly turned on the woman, physically confronting her and grabbing her clothes.
Wait, grabbing a mother?
A mother's clothes, yes. Now, the school management subsequently intervened and expelled the girls for engaging in violent conduct.
Okay.
Now, however, the following day, a male student whose mother had been assaulted the previous day attacked the victim seen in the viral video. It was revealed that the victim of that specific attack was the brother of the two girls involved in the initial incident.
I'm lost
now, while urging parents, guardians, and school authorities to take greater responsibility for moral upbringing and supervision of their students, the commissioner advised students to shun violence and focus on their students. Now, I just have to say that kudos to the investigators of this case, because when I first heard this, I was telling a guy at the MCR, I said a girl started this fight, and although it was not the way I expected it to go, but we can see that one of the fighters was probably trying to fight for his two sisters who were expelled the previous day. So it's quite a sad story, but I'm happy that these persons were brought to book, and this would also serve as deterrent to others to tell them that bullying is a no. And then just seeing that students assaulted the mother.
Yes, what kind of students are those? Like, it's
this
generation is very the kind of children that are being raised. Should I even say that are being raised?
Yeah.
With their audacity is very, very disturbing.
The audacity is disturbing and screaming.
Because a teenager,
yes,
for like even me with my age, I will not attack anybody's mom, let alone my mom. Do you understand?
Exactly, because you are thinking, if this is done to my mom,
even my age, I will not even attack a fellow lady,
yes,
that's even my junior, let alone my contemporary.
Yes.
Then we're talking about somebody's
mother.
Who raised you?
It's so sad.
But I think I want to give kudos based on the report that you read out and the investigation that the police has done, that the ladies that were involved, or the girls, they are not ladies, the girls that were involved initially, that they were expelled. So why I'm saying kudos to that is because we've also seen videos that accuse the management of Ipenedo Educational Center that when such occurrences happen and disciplinary measures are not taken.
Yes.
So to see that, okay, some girls misbehaved and they were expelled initially, and then these boys did it. So I think that it will serve as a deterrent, and it's a strong message out there, because they talked about, I can't recall the exact nomenclature of the grouping. Is it D1? They have a kind of grouping. They have D1 to D10, and it's a kind of ranking. So they bully each other. So it's something that students of the school, they are used to, and all of that. But to see that discipline is being enforced and it's out there, especially expulsion.
Yes.
So it's not like you are suspended, then you come back and you're feeling like, not be suspended, go suspend me. You are being expelled.
Yes.
And it's a good one. Thank God for social media as well, because you are being expelled and your face is out there. So when you go to another school, because I know how this thing works, that's why you also need rehabilitation. There's this stigma that comes with it. Is it not this guy that was stepping on that guy, that wicked boy, and this, that. So there is that stigma that comes with it. And the truth is, in as much as people speak against stigma, but I feel like, I will not call it stigma now, shame is very needed in human psychology. The moment a society loses, an individual loses his or her ability to be ashamed,
there's a problem.
That person is gone.
Yes.
Because there's something that shame does to you and puts you in order.
It wears your garment.
Yes. So when you know that, when you still have shame in you, you coordinate yourself. That's why there are some things you will not do. But when you see a society that has lost shame, you see people coming out with what should be underwears. They are wearing it on the street and feel like it's fashion and all of that. What is meant to be a private part of the body, they put it out there and all of that. What does not feel nice.
Yes.
What you should
They
not be
make it look
flaunting.
like normal.
Yes,
Yes.
they glamorize it and all of that. You are a criminal. You are defrauding others, and you are proud of it.
Let
That's
me
because
even
you've
blow
lost
your
the
mind.
ability
This
to
generation
question.
of mothers, they now call the teenage age the rebellious stage. I don't think I saw any of our parents say, "Oh, my child is in the rebellious stage." They will beat it out for you.
All right, so we have a lot of ground to cover this morning, so we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll bring you our first interview on today's edition of Morning Rise. Please stay tuned.
Like I dey tell you, very soon electricity for Delta State e go be one of the best for Nigeria.
Obukobo, abeg stop, you don start.
Calm down, e get wetin I don tell you before wey no happen.
You don tell me now, say this year 2026 they go complete the DSA roundabout flyover for Efuru.
Now.
No dey watch whether e go happen now.
Sure, why e no go happen? This year just dey start now. The construction of the DSA roundabout flyover for Efuru is already 98% complete.
You sure?
Yes, Governor Sheriff dey drive to modernize urban infrastructure so that e go ease traffic congestion across key metropolitan.
You mean metropolitan corridor?
Yes, you know say me and English na like this.
Well, I no go lie, Governor Sheriff dey do well because I know of some communities where they be say their expectations, I mean their dreams, has become a reality. You will talk something about electricity.
Our governor, Right Honorable Sheriff, he don dey set to add 120 megawatts to the national grid.
Oh boy, this one go boost Delta State energy capacity.
Delta State Health Insurance Scheme expanded between 2023 to 2025, becoming Nigeria's largest state health insurance scheme. While Oborewori no go clinch double honors as Governor of the Year 2025.
Governor Oborewori don remember Kokori Sweet Crudo with 12 billion naira road
I know,
rehabilitation.
na 35.32 kilometer road for Etiop East local government area.
150 primary healthcare centers under renovation and upgrade across the state.
This road intervention wey Governor Sheriff dey do so na practical demonstration of the Governor Sheriff opportunities for all wey dey more agenda.
Particularly communities where don suffer neglect for years.
Governor Sheriff dey work, we dey see am na real matter.
Brought to you by Delta State Ministry of Information.
Politics in Perspective. It is a program loaded with fresh facts. It is a platform to unearth hidden agenda. It is a forum to showcase achievements. It is a time to x-ray the past, present, and future. Politics in Perspective is interactive, educative, entertaining, and a must-watch for everybody. Your host is Ejime Odweme. Be part of Politics in Perspective on Delta TV, channel 25 UHF, or www.dbsasaba.com every Monday at 2 to 3 p.m. Politics in Perspective, your sure bet for current topical issues.
Welcome back to Morning Ride here on Delta Television. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East, particularly involving major global oil transit routes such as the Strait of Hormuz, continues to generate widespread concern across the world. Experts warn that disruptions in the region have already pushed crude oil prices above $100 per barrel, with far-reaching implications for global inflation, trade, and energy security. For Nigeria, an oil-dependent economy, the situation presents a complex mix of opportunities and risks, from increased oil revenues to rising inflation, exchange rate pressures, and potential security spillovers. To unpack these developments, we are joined by a lecturer in the Department of History, Strategic and International Studies, and an analyst in the person of Dr. Oluchukwu Onyeama. Good morning, Dr. Onyeama. It's good to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Doc. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
We've been trying to get you, but you're a very, very busy man. But it's good to finally have you
Exactly.
today. Now, we're looking at the implications of the Middle East conflict on the economy and security of nations, especially Nigeria. Now, let's start with, from a strategic and historic perspective, how would you situate the current Middle East conflict with global geopolitical tensions?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I would say that we are living in a very interesting times, and the Middle East conflict has become a very important factor, that has transformed the geopolitical space. And the Middle East conflict is a clear indication that that region is a very strategic location. And when it comes to commerce and trade, and the Middle East conflict has broke out over the years. In other words, it's a conflict that has different layers. I happen to teach the Middle East history
Nice.
in 300 level. In fact, when that of Israeli-Hamas layer was ongoing, I was teaching the course. And one of the things I ended with that course is that I told my student that this conflict, even though Hamas was able to cease fire, that it's just an end to subsequent layers of the conflict. You understand now?
So you
can
anticipated
call it
more.
a prediction or something, And just as we are writing our exams in that course, the prediction about this U.S. Iranian Buhaha, was ongoing because the press in the United States, have been reporting on it, because Iran has refused to shift ground, knowing the position of the Western powers regarding uranium enrichment and all that, So, in violation of the 1696 resolution of the UN Security Council, 2231 resolution of the UN Security Council, which state that Iran must abandon its nuclear enrichment. So that now created a very serious impasse between the Iranians and the United States and other Western powers. Already internally, Iran have started facing serious issues. But one thing is that Iran, being an important country in the Middle East, whatever happens in that country affects the entire Middle East. So in other words, we see a very serious security and geopolitical equation at playing itself. So on February 28, 2026, the United States and the Israeli government launched an attack against Iran towards curtailing Iran from expanding its nuclear program. And ever since then, the war has continued and intensified in earnest. While the Iranians were bombing strategic locations in Israel and other parts of the Middle East, which in fact, the one that is highly surprising is the fact that is a bombing of countries within the region, like
the Gulf states.
That in fact, everybody were amazed, And the question is, does it really vindicate the United States assertion that Iran has the capability of launching an attack beyond the Middle East? Because I mean, I don't, I'm here to fashion out how these countries that Iran is bombing are part of the impasse between Iran and other parts of the country.
Why they did that is they are saying that any country that has a U.S. military base in it, they perceive them as allies with the U.S.
Yes.
And so they are threats.
Yes.
Because the U.S. from their military base, they can actually launch an attack against them, Iran.
Yes. But again, knowing fully well that they are equally neighbors, strategic neighbors at that. Strategic neighbors at that. Knowing fully well that they are equally neighbors.
But they pose a threat to them as well. The closer they are,
how did they pose a threat? Because they have a military base. They have a military. United States has a military base in those countries. It's just one part of it. It's just one part of it. So from that attack, since that February 28th, the Israeli government and the United States have continued to launch an attack. And now the major issue now is the blockage that have been imposed at the Strait of Hormuz, which is an international gateway of oil and gas and other resources from the Middle East region to other parts of the world.
Okay.
So you will now discover that the Strait of Hormuz has become a bargaining chip, because Iran says that it's not going to open the straits for trade and commerce to continue.
Okay, let's talk about the economies. Now, my question is, how do sanctions impact the economies of Middle Eastern countries involved in this conflict?
Yes, of course, the Middle East is already dislocated.
Exactly.
Going by the previous conflict that has been taking place. In fact, with the one of Hamas and Israel that we just finished, we have not even recovered from that conflict.
Yes.
And here we are with that of Israel, United States, and Iran. So you find that with that alone, the economy of the Middle East has been pushed in a very tough direction. In a very tough direction. Talking about trade and commerce, the trade in oil and gas.
And there's also the part of conflict on global food security.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Like I said before, that even before this, the Iranian crisis, there has been the struggle to transport food and other necessity to the region, particularly within the Palestinian area. And this started when the Hamas-Israeli conflict began. That issue has not been resolved. It has not been resolved.
Yes.
The humanitarian impasse that developed out of Palestinian conflict has not been resolved. And here we are now talking about Iran and the United States. So in fact that such humanitarian impasse will continue to increase and have strong untold hardship on the people.
Okay. Now, of course, there has been an increase in the price of oil. And my first question is, how does this directly impact Nigeria's economy? Considering the fact that, according to some estimates, Nigeria relies heavily on crude oil. That's the fact. Nigeria relies heavily on crude oil for foreign exchange earnings, and some analysts have put it at 80%, that crude oil contributes 80% to our foreign exchange. Now, does the current crisis present more of a blessing or a curse for the country?
Well, I could say that it's not it's both ways, because number one, Nigeria is an importing country.
Yes.
I'm coming. Nigeria is an imports goods. You know, even the oil is we import the refined oil. Even though we have oil in Nigeria, but you find that we import refined oil from these areas. You know, so the Middle East conflict is bound to have a serious problem in Nigeria, because while it's affecting those countries that will import oil, you understand now, the same thing will equally happen in Nigeria. Why? Because our refineries are not working. Had it been that our refinery is working, we would have a little bit relieved, you know, and it will become another alternative for us to have more oil for consumption. But you find that about 99% of the oil we use are imported. You understand? Now, even Pundit equally agree that even Dangote equally import oil. That is why he has continued to increase price of fuel and all that, because they are all imported. Even though we have the oil in Nigeria, but they import the refined oil.
Okay, so
you know,
we'll go on the commercial.
We'll have to go on the commercial break.
When we return, we'll look more into why the fact that we have crude, but we still import refined crude or refined oil, as you put it. So let's go on the commercial break. When we return, we dive deeper into these conversations. Please stay tuned.
From the rivers to the cities we rise.
Nigerians, it is time to arise. Arise not for the change that we dream of, but arise to create the change that we want. It is time to bring your talent to bear, and this is a call for expressions. My team will create something that you will be proud of, but we cannot create a museum without you. So if you have this thing in your house that you've been thinking since forever, the world needs to see, bring it to us. If you have this talent that you feel that the world already knows or don't know about it, but there is one simple clause: it must be speaking to one of the 17 SDG goals. Donors, philanthropists, Nigerian government, it is time to lead the conversation our way. It is time to put our money where our mouth is. Please come on board and join this. History is about to be made. The question is, are you going to be a part of it?
This is our call. Don't just live today. Discover the future. From the rivers to the cities we rise.
Nigerians, it is time to arise. Arise not for the change that we dream of, but arise to create the change that we want. It is time to bring your talent to bear, and this is a call for expressions. My team will create something that you will be proud of, but we cannot create a museum without you. So if you have this thing in your house that you've been thinking since forever, the world needs to see, bring it to us. If you have this talent that you feel that the world already knows or don't know about it, but there is one simple clause: it must be speaking to one of the 17 SDG goals. Donors, philanthropists, Nigerian government, it is time to lead the conversation our way. It is time to put our money where our mouth is. Please come on board and join this. History is about to be made. The question is, are you going to be a part of it?
This is our call. Don't just live today. Discover the future.
Now, like I stated before we went on the break, we need to get clarity on this. So you were stating that Dangote Refinery buys refined oil. So my question is, why will a refinery, because now the first question I'll start with is, does Nigeria have sufficient crude, like crude oil, to meet the needs of Nigerians?
Like I said, Nigeria has crude oil, but majority of this crude oil are imported. Refined crude oil, I mean the refined crude oil.
So Dangote Refinery does not have the ability to refine
They don't have the technology. the much needed technology to refine
the technology.
oil. Because that is why he goes to Brazil and other part of the world to buy oil.
Okay.
Are you know what I'm saying? To buy oil.
So when he buys,
because if the oil comes, the refined oil comes from Nigeria, why is the price of petroleum being increased all the time? It has already been increased to 1,275.
It's within 1,250. So
250.
even some persons in Asaba buy 1.4.
Because the reason why such increases are made or price changes are made because of the increase in the international market. Because of the increase in the international market, where he buys the oil from.
So are you saying that it will be so difficult for Nigerians to get the technology to get this oil refined in Nigeria?
Well,
or we don't have the capable hands to do that?
There are elements of politics and all that within the oil industry, that has continued to deprive the Nigerian state from being independent of their own in terms of refining oil and all that. Nigeria has the capability, but that there are international politics at play in all this.
Okay, so let us know, how does the conflict affect maritime security in the region, including shipping lanes like Strait to Hormuz?
Of course, the closure of Hormuz, the Hormuz Strait, that alone has, because it's an international gateway. Hormuz Strait is an international gateway for the shipping companies, for transportation of goods by shipping companies across the world. China, India, Germany, and different parts of European countries. So it's a gateway, even the United States. So the maritime company industry is heavily affected because ships can no longer pass the route to other parts of the world. So it's a very serious strategic problem for the world, because now Iran is using it as a bargaining chip, using it to place conditions.
Yes.
As of yesterday, he said, just yesterday when Trump said that if Iran refuses to open the Strait of Hormuz, that is going to
launch attack on
decapitate their power plant.
Yes.
But now Iran have responded by saying that only the so-called enemies are not allowed to pass through, the shipping company from the enemy countries are not allowed to pass through that. Every other part of the world, ships coming from every other part of the world can pass through the strait. So,
okay.
But again, such reactions from Iran, knowing fully well that majority of countries, foreign Western countries, are beginning to be, particularly NATO countries, are beginning to have some form of solidarity with the United States incursion in that country. I think Iran is trying to shoot itself on the foot, because it's trying to escalate the provocation by opening a very strong justification for other countries to join the United States and Israel in that war. Because those countries can no longer wait and see Iran hold the whole world to ransom. Like I saw a video where the NATO Secretary General was saying that about 22 countries have already responded to Donald Trump's call for so-called help to come in and join in that war. Even Israeli Prime Minister too, Netanyahu, was telling the world, they call it free world, that what are they waiting for? When he visited one part of the Israel that was bombarded by Iran, that what are they waiting for? So what I'm trying to say is that Iran should be very careful and tread cautiously, so that the war will not escalate beyond Israel and the United States, because the Strait of Hormuz is an international passage, international passage. So it meaning that even though it's within the territory of Iran and the United Arab Emirates, it is the world that owns that passage. You know.
Okay, Doc, let's talk on terrorism financing. Now, what role does terrorism financing play in the conflict, economic, and security dynamics?
Yeah, terrorism financing plays a very important role because these are monies that are being used to smuggle in weapons.
Yes.
You know, by non-state actors. You know, and I have already stated it in my paper that without money and arms, terrorism is tickless. I wrote a paper on arms and terrorism in Africa. I said without money and arms, you know, terrorism is nothing. The capacity of the non-state actor will be weakened.
Yes.
You know,
if there's no financing.
So the financing is used to build a strong network, an organized network of these terrorists. Buying of arms and basic needs that sustains their operation. Because a terrorist who hides in the forest does not just hide for nothing. He hides because of the money that will be paid at the end of the day. So financing of terrorism widens the network, terrorist networks, and equally enhance the purchase of arms from different parts of the country, even including Iran. You know, there are different evidences that show that most of these terrorists buys arms from places like Iran.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So now that you've made that point, I want to ask: is there a possibility of indirect security threats, such as increased radicalization, arms proliferation, or geopolitical alignments affecting West Africa? Now, I'm talking about radicalization and all of that as well, because we've also seen situations and how this indirectly affects us. We've seen situations where, especially those in the Middle Belt and the northern part of Nigeria, coming out in protest against the US and Israel. We've seen them put picture on the flag of US, picture of the US president and the prime minister of Israel and all of that. So what is the indirect security threat to Nigeria at this point?
Yes. You mean in the context of across the world, particularly in West Africa, you know, and the fundamental slogan of this propaganda is "Death to America and Israel." Death to America and Israel. So they see Iran have been able to equally create a global impression that America is a global imperialist, you know, that need to be contended against. So ever since 1970s, this radical movement have continued to emerge, even in the universities. There was evidence that CIA evidence that most of these radicalists grew up in even in Nigerian universities in northern Nigeria. You know, yes. So, and since that time till now, radical movement have continued to gain momentum. They have continued to gain momentum and they continue to refine that idea. One of our professors who visited Iran then said that when you see billboards everywhere, "Death to America," "Death to this," "Death to that," it's having a very great implication, because Iran have many followers across the world that believe in that message. So no doubt, the war in the Middle East involving Iran and the United States and Israel will have a greater part to play in Now, you saw that UAE have already suspended Iranian's military attaché diplomat from their country, and that alone have continued to widen the tentacles of the conflict, thereby reducing the place of diplomacy. But I still believe that diplomacy will still come back based on this issue of Strait of Hormuz, because it's a very important distance. Because the more the war continues, the more the strait will remain closed.
Okay, very, very briefly, even as we go, very briefly.
Okay.
If the conflict persists or escalates,
yes,
what scenarios should Nigeria prepare for economically and strategically?
Well,
so in form of advice, how should we brace up ourselves?
How should we get ready?
I think that the government of Nigeria should intervene seriously by mounting austerity measures in some of the in our economy. The government has the responsibility. Yes, the government has the responsibility. The Nigerian government has the responsibility to protect its citizens.
Yes, in the economy.
You understand that? Because if they did not do that, there will be kind of a protest, agitations here and there, over economic insecurity. Okay. And again, it's this conflict is a great reflection on the fact that Nigerian states need to reduce the level of dependency.
Okay.
We need to look more inward. Because had it been that we have many alternatives, yes, we won't have feel the impact much.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oluchukwu Onyawa, for your insightful analysis. And as the Middle East conflict continues to evolve, its ripple effects on global energy markets and national economies like Nigeria remain significant. So, like Dr. Onyawa said, this is a call on the government to look inwards and see how they can better the lives of Nigeria by improving the economic situation in the country. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll receive our second guest.
Hello, my name is Blessing Ofomio. Join me every Tuesday, 11 a.m. on Delta Television, Asaba, on the program HBS Show with Blessing, History Behind Success. It is a program that talks about how one started from the humble beginning. Don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel, HBS Show with Blessing, like and share to your loved ones. Don't miss this program for any reason.
have a governor who is managing the resources of the state very, very prudently. When we say that governance will not cease because we are in what you may call pre-election year, you could see that the governor is walking the talk. He's looking ahead by delivering projects that touches the life of the people. We are doing this supervision and tour of these projects because the governor has made it clear that if you fall short of the provisions in the Bill of Engineering Measurement and Evaluation, we will blacklist you. And we are seeing much more quality work coming in. We're also seeing greater speed.
Every morning brings a new conversation.
From breaking stories to burning issues.
From 7:30 to 9:30 a.m.
Mondays to Fridays.
Join us on Morning Ride, where news meets insight and every voice matters.
Morning Ride is your daily dose of facts, truth, and perspective.
Of the goodness of God. Shine, Jesus, shine, fill this land with the Father's glory. It's the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad indeed.
Choristers Beats, lifting God's name higher through songs. Don't miss it.
Rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
Politics in Perspective. It is a program loaded with fresh facts. It is a platform to unearth hidden agenda. It is a forum to showcase achievements. It is a time to x-ray the past, present, and future. Politics in Perspective is interactive, educative, entertaining, and a must-watch for everybody. Your host is Ejime Odweme. Be part of Politics in Perspective on Delta TV, channel 25 UHF, or www.dbsasaba.com every Monday at 2 to 3 p.m. Politics in Perspective, your sure bet for current topical issues.
Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Shine, Jesus, shine, fill this land with the Father's glory. It's the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad indeed.
Choristers Beats, lifting God's name higher through songs. Don't miss it.
Rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
back to Morning Ride here on Delta Television. It's time now for our final interview, and this is centered on road safety. Now, in recent times, authorities have intensified efforts to enforce traffic laws across Nigeria, with a renewed crackdown on violators ranging from reckless driving to improper documentation and illegal roadside activities. Early this month, an offender was on Tuesday, March 11, sentenced to 7 days imprisonment with an option of 10 days community service by the mobile court sitting along the Asaba-Benin Expressway for failure to move over, obstruction of marshal on duty, assault of marshal on duty, and contempt of court. Now, the conviction was secured during the mobile court session organized by the Federal Road Safety Corps, Delta State Sector Command, as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen enforcement and ensure strict compliance with the traffic regulations across the state. During the sitting, a total of 45 traffic offenders were prosecuted and convicted for 119 various traffic offenses. Some of the prevalent offenses recorded during the operation include overloading, driver's license violations, number plate violations, attempts to corrupt marshals, seat belt violations, and failure to install speed limiting devices, among others. The FRSC Delta State Command reiterated its commitment to sustaining enforcement operations and mobile court sittings to deter traffic offenders and promote safer road use. Motorists and other road users were advised to comply with all traffic regulations, cooperate with traffic enforcement officials, and desist from acts capable of endangering lives or obstructing officers in the discharge of their lawful duties. Joining us this morning to discuss on the crackdown of traffic violators is the Sector Public Education Officer of the Federal Safety Corps, Delta State Command, the person of Deputy Route Commander Uchenna Nnadika. Good morning. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning to our viewers too. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, now let's talk about safety, of course, road safety. Now, the FRSC Delta State Command has intensified its crackdown on traffic violations.
Yes.
What prompted this renewed enforcement drive in Delta State?
Well, of course, we have been on our top gear, ensuring that traffic violators and traffic offenses are reduced, especially when it has to do with crashes. We want to ensure that crashes are reduced drastically in the state. And of course, we are no longer happy. We are no longer happy with the issues of crashes happening here and there as a result of people's behavior on the road, especially drivers, you know. So that is what prompted it. Actually, the mobile court sittings and these efforts have always been there. You know, we've always, almost on a weekly basis, we have these mobile court sittings,
Okay.
you know, almost on a weekly basis, aside our regular patrols and special patrols as well as public enlightenment efforts as well. So these things are there to ensure that the crashes are reduced to the barest minimum, if not eliminated.
Okay, so when Ogaga was reading that, I just wanted to ask, is 7 days enough? Well, that's on a lighter note. But what I want to ask is, how does FRSC plan to sustain its crackdown on traffic violations in the state? Is it a sustainable development?
Of course, that's why I said, for us, we are trying to even improve on this mobile court, because this mobile court helps us to get quick judgment.
Okay.
You know, is one of the ways that we are able to get speedy and quick trials of traffic offenders. Yes, and of course, they are meant to either pay their fine or serve whatever it is that the magistrate, who is the presiding judge over the court, you know, and the judgment which he metes out on them, you know. So it helps us, and it also helps to serve as a deterrent, you know, to those traffic violators, because oftentimes you also find them continually violating.
Yes.
Continually violating. So it serves as a deterrent to them, and also as a deterrent to those who know about them. Because, for instance, when you hear that this person was sentenced to, your friend was sentenced to 7 days, 1 week, 1 month, as the case may be, you know, you know that this is a serious.
Yeah, you sit up.
Yes, you sit up.
Okay, so what give us some specific offenses that can lead to a conviction?
Yes,
Okay.
and also including that, the most common traffic offenses currently being recorded across the state.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start from the law, the Federal Road Safety Establishment Act, Section 10(9). Actually empowers the judge or whoever it is that is presiding to issue a term of 6 months. A term of 6 months.
Okay.
Yes, in view of all traffic offenses as in our act, or a term of 6 months. However, it's at the discretion of the judge to say, okay, you can either pay the fine.
Okay. So the 6 months is the maximum punishment?
No, there are some other offenses that can have as much as 2 years, such as when you're driving under the influence of alcohol or when you are engaged in dangerous driving. However, if your dangerous driving activities leads to a loss of life, it can also lead to 7 years time.
So what of speeding, overloading, and driving without a license, especially overloading?
Of course, that's why I said there are so many of these offenses can also attract a maximum of 6 months. Do you understand? It depends. The magistrate at our discretion could also consider and give you maybe 2 months, 1 month, 7 days, just as whoever, just as you can see, someone was, I think on the 11th, yes, was awarded 7 days and an option of 10 days community service, and he chose the 10 days, of course. So the magistrate.
So what will he be doing during the community service?
Of course, he's going to come. In fact, he will be doing community service, such as cleaning the environment, making sure that everywhere is just any assignment.
Monitored by
us, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
By us.
So if one of your officers will be assigned to the person to make sure that the person
Yes, he's to report to the office, and then the assignments that are given to him, he'll carry it out.
Okay.
Carry it out.
So things like improper vehicle registration, lack of valid driver's licenses, and reckless driving remain major issues. Why do these violations, I beg your pardon, persist despite repeated warning? So from your experience on the job, why do you think that it continues? Because it's something that's been spoken about. Renew your driver's license and avoid reckless driving, stay off your phone while driving. Why has it persisted?
Well, oftentimes people persist because they have not been reprimanded for it. Of course, when you were successful driving from one point to the other without a driver's license today, you also want to repeat it tomorrow until you are now caught. And of course, and maybe some people will now feign ignorance. They say, I'm not aware.
But ignorance is not an excuse.
Of course. You also find out that some people, their licenses have expired. And when it's expired, maybe you say it expired like a month ago, and they will often tell you that I'm still looking for money to go and renew my driver's license. That is not an excuse in the eyes of the law, because the driver's license is a document that gives you the powers to drive on the Nigerian roads.
Okay.
And of course, if you don't have it, you should stay back or avoid driving. Oftentimes, people also tell you, I have grace. There is grace period. If my license has expired, I have so and so. It is not known to law. There is no grace period. In fact, it is expected. Yes, it is expected that part of what we call morning vehicle parade, it's expected that when you must have checked every morning, when you check your vehicle, you check for the oil, check for the water, check for other things to make sure that your vehicle is safe, especially tires and all of that, You also check for the papers. You check for your vehicle license, check for your roadworthiness and all of those things. Make sure that they too are valid.
Okay, so that really brings me back to the FRSC mobile court again. Would you say that they have been effective enough in prosecuting traffic offenders? How effective are they really? Because it's not every time that we get to hear that somebody was prosecuted. How effective? And then again, what challenges have you people faced, in things like this?
Of course, you see, this this mobile court, like I told you, has been a thing. Maybe because it's not that popular.
Exactly.
But I think we are making efforts to ensure that people are aware of it, especially when it has to do with, especially when we record such successes, we ensure that it is very much publicized, it is brought to the public domain. Because even last year, I think I've also said it on this program, even last year, we had successes. We had situations where offenders were sentenced to almost 1 month in prison at Ogwashiku. In fact, 2 of the offenders there spent both their Christmas and their New Year in prison, for various traffic offenses and all of that. In fact, this last ruling, and of a passenger, he was not even a driver, a passenger was sentenced to 7 days imprisonment.
What was the role of the passenger in all of this?
So a passenger can also break traffic
law? Of course, no, not necessarily breaking the traffic law. So a court is sitting.
Okay.
He was held in contempt of the court. So he was trying to incite violence, incite other passengers. Yes, inside the court.
Okay, so the moment the driver was apprehended, the passengers also went with the driver to court.
Of course, the passengers could wait behind,
But is it compulsory?
It's not. If you want to move, you can move. If you want to wait for your driver, it's a fast judgment.
Okay.
You understand? So most times they might want, especially for those traveling far, it will not be easy for you to get another vehicle to start going. So you might want to wait behind.
And you already paid.
And of course, like they say, most of these cases are quasi-criminal. They are not that heavy, So it's something that maybe if you behave yourself well, you just pay an optional fine. You rarely see the magistrate awarding sentences, especially or less in extreme cases, such as when you see assault, obstruction of marshals on duty and all of that. These are cases that the magistrate may decide because of how the driver has paraded himself.
Well, I know that these things are at the discretion of the court, but don't you think that when we start talking about fine, some persons might just say, this is not money, I will pay money, what's there, and it could make people to continue in the crime of road violation.
Oftentimes, beyond the fines, they also award public enlightenment and community services. This public enlightenment means that you'll be coming to the office repeatedly, for a certain period of time as awarded.
Okay.
For instance, they can award you like 14 days PE. We call it PE, that's public enlightenment. So you come to the office, we'll enlighten you, we'll ensure that you understand the severity of these offenses, and we'll encourage you to be a good citizen by abiding by traffic rules, you understand? And by the end of the 14 days, oftentimes you find that these people have turned a new leaf. In fact, I am a witness to about like 3 of them, because all is handled by my department, you understand? I can, like about 3 of them whom I handled personally, a lot. In fact, most of them are now our friends. You see them on the road and you see that their cars are in order.
Okay.
Do you understand?
So finally, what would be your advice to motorists who may still be ignoring traffic violations, and what can residents, especially these previous defaulters who have now become your friends, what can they do to support the Delta State Command of the FRSC in achieving safer roads?
Of course, the truth is you must realize that road safety is everyone's business. It is your business. Because the truth is our carelessness and recklessness on the road can affect even our loved ones without us knowing. Do you understand? Yeah. So it is important that we obey and abide by these traffic rules and regulations. When we say do not, always wear your seatbelt, stop carrying overload, it is for your own safety. I always tell people, the road safety that you are afraid of or you are angry at and all of those things, you understand? If an accident occurs, they are not with you in the vehicle. We are the ones to come for rescue. When we ask you for your fire extinguisher, it is for you to protect you. Enlightenment and education, and even in some cases, paid fines. It is your duty to also help advocate for road safety in your community, in your corner, in your family, and everywhere. When people see that you are really talking about it and you're also living by it, they too will also emulate. Do you understand?
Thank you very much for educating us this morning, Sector Public Education Officer of the FRSC Delta
Thank you.
State Command, Deputy Route Commander Uchenna Unadika. We do appreciate your time, and it is also for you to note that road safety is everybody's responsibility, whether you are a driver, whether you are a road safety official, or you are a pedestrian. Ensure that you abide by the rules to make our roads safer for all of us. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll quickly review the papers for today. Please stay tuned.
Politics in Perspective. It is a program loaded with fresh facts. It is a platform to unearth hidden agenda. It is a forum to showcase achievements. It is a time to x-ray the past, present, and future. Politics in Perspective is interactive, educative, entertaining, and a must-watch for everybody. Your host is Ejime Odweme. Be part of Politics in Perspective on Delta TV, channel 25 UHF, or www.dbsasaba.com every Monday at 2 to 3 p.m. Politics in Perspective, your sure bet for current topical issues.
We have a governor who is managing the resources of the state very, very prudently. When we say that governance will not cease because we are in what you may call pre-election year, you could see that the governor is walking the talk. He's looking ahead by delivering projects that touches the life of the people. We are doing this supervision and tour of these projects because the governor has made it clear that if you fall short of the provisions in the Bill of Engineering Measurement and Evaluation, we will blacklist you. And we are seeing much more quality work coming in. We're also seeing greater speed.
Welcome back. We'll quickly run through some of the headlines across the different dailies we have for you this morning. We have this day: Daily Independent, The Vanguard, Nigerian Tribune, Daily Sun, The Guardian, The Nation, New Telegraph, Daily Trust, The Punch, and The Pointer newspaper. We start up with this day newspaper, and the major headline here says, Tinubu, Nigeria in talks with UK, France for support in fight against insecurity. We have a couple of riders, but I won't take that. I'll just take one more headline from this day newspaper. Makinde, any PDP member with Wike is enemy of democracy. Okay.
We hear you. All right, the Daily Independent newspaper is next. And first, the screaming headline here says, oil price surge may reverse fragile gain in price stability. And now at the bottom strip here, we have this one that says, governors push legislative overhaul to back state policing initiative. Now, the writer to that story says, Tinubu asks Matron for equipment to tackle insecurity. Okay, while we wait, next paper.
Okay, the Vanguard is next, and the lead. State police. Governors split as insecurity worsens nationwide. I'll just take one of the riders. Most states back move. Others, one of abuse, repression. Blackouts. NLC wants urgent overhaul of power sector. The rider seeks single energy ministry. Insists on no bailout for Genco discos as power crisis deepens. And lastly, from the Vanguard newspaper, Ozora Festival assaults. Remi Tinubu, Ezekwesili, NAPTIP orders demand justice.
That's so sad. Okay, the Nigerian Tribune is next, and first headline here says, Kwankwaso, Makinde, Dixon meet in Kano. And now there are a number of riders to that story. First rider says, Bala Muhammad Makinde meets with Dixon in Bauchi. Another rider here says, Obi meets Kwankwaso in Kano. Another rider said, disregard misleading narratives on PDP.
Last. This thing no go last though.
Guardian.
All right, the Guardian newspaper, the first headline here says, eyes on insurance sector as banks survive recapitalization, liquidation. Another story here says 2027, opposition leaders explore new alliance as internal crisis linger. To get more insight on those stories, do grab yourself a copy of the Guardian newspaper.
The Nation is next, and the screaming headline, President, governors, step up war against terrorists. And this is coming from the president himself. And one more headline from the Nation newspaper, Labour demands quick energy sector reform. The rider Elumelu urges sustained support for SMEs.
All right, here with us is the New Telegraph newspaper. The first bold headline says, Tinubu, we won't allow insecurity overshadow our efforts at helping the vulnerable. That's okay. Next story here says, Middle East crisis, Nigeria firms threatens as shipping crisis traps raw materials.
So sad.
So sad.
The Daily Trust newspaper is next, and Tinubu's ally to handle 1.4 trillion naira Lagos Ports project. And one more headline from the Daily Trust. Nigerians' woes deepen as petrol hits 1,400 naira per litre.
Again, very sad. The Punch newspaper here says 2027 strategy. Makinde meets Kwankwaso as PDP reconciliation falters. This one here says Makinde Bala Kwankwaso meeting sparks fear as mass movement to NDC. Another rider here says Wike Makinde PDP calms clash again over convention support for Tinubu. Last rider here says PDP faction trade blames for failed reconciliation tax.
And we'll round off with the Pointer newspaper coming home. The lead, Delta honors autistic prodigy Tagbo KK with 10 million naira, and you can see it there as the photos speak. And lastly, NLC rejects 6 trillion naira bailout, demands energy sector reform. And you can get yourself a copy of the Pointer newspaper to get details of these stories and many more. And this is where we round off Morning Ride this morning. Cheesy, before we go.
Yes, for me, I just have to say that I'm super excited that our young stars are doing big things. So yes, as a parent, be intentional to your kids and try to find out what they love doing and just harness on that talent, and you'll be happy you did. Thank you so much for riding with us. I'm Cheesy Awuno. God bless Delta State and God bless Nigeria.
All right, the morning ride continues tomorrow morning here on Delta Television. Do well to join in as well. On behalf of the production crew, it is I, Gaga Ekama, thanking you so much for your time.
Today is so excitement day everywhere